Hi all. Right, welcome back. Enemy Action Kharkov. German Soul Part 28, I think. Yeah, Part 28. Yeah, right, two or three things just to mention. Um, I had a couple of comments from Martin, and I'm a bit worried because his first comment was from Part 11. And he's also added a second comment, and I think that was only part 13. So, and my worry is that that's as far he's watched through the videos. That might not be the case. He might have browsed through things. However, it might well be the case. He might have been away on holiday. He might have been busy with other things, and he's not got around to things. That was like the fact that I hadn't heard from him. I thought, well, no news is always good news. As I think I mentioned recently, whenever I see a comment pop up, I'm always panicking because it could well be something that's wrong, and I've got to try and fax, and I might not be able to fax, and it's going to frustrate me and whatever. So if he is only just getting through the videos and he's on part 13, then well, this is part 28, like I just said. So that's 15 parts ago. So I've got a bit to worry about. Now, I'm not saying you other guys might not have spotted the same things that he does, but yeah, I'm still a little bit worried. But the thing is, if you spot something way back there, it's more than likely going to be something that I'm just going to have to take on the chin and accept there's nothing I can do about it. But yeah. Yeah, and the first one he mentioned was just an explanation of well, hang on, let me get the movement method. Yeah, the movement method 5, which is to Soviet VP hex, and any units will move to an empty garrison Soviet VP hex targeted for the active front, which the German units proximate. However, the one I was wondering on that was the Soviet infantry unit, if unable to move to an unoccupied Soviet VP hex, move to a VP hex occupied only by Soviet armoured units, regardless of German proximity or supply trace. And then also an infantry unit starting in a VPX stacked with only armour units does not move by this or any subsequent method. I mean, I think I might have mentioned the fact that, yeah, if you've got an infantry unit there and a armoured unit there, it lets the armoured unit move away. And basically that's what it's saying. You would move an infantry unit there because if the armoured unit moved away, it could lead proximity to the VPX, so it wouldn't be allowed to move away, and then it's restricting your stronger units. So putting an infantry unit in there then allows the armoured unit to move out. Yeah, so thanks for explaining that one, Martin. Uh, I mean, I think that's how I was talking about. I mean, I think the fact you're as far back as that, I might have come to terms with it a little bit as you move on. We'll see. And the second one I was kind of at first panicking on and thought I hadn't when he said that. He said that the 40th Army primary card had been removed, had been discarded in the setup adjustment. And I thought, have I missed the card and not discarded it? But this was before I realised what bit he was talking about. And it was when I came to the end of turn 1 and 40th Army hadn't done a thing, they hadn't moved. And I thought, wait now, I went right through the Soviet deck and they've not done anything. And I was confused, and I looked through the discard pile to make sure that there was a 40th Army card in there. Because if you remember, the primary cards, if you don't use them to activate the actual army, because we didn't even have the... Oh no, did it? Well, surely we should have been placed... Is that not missing from the setup then? Maybe, Martin? Now, right, let me finish. If you draw the... Have I got anything lying about? Yeah, all the primary cards, I'm not going to want to show you because I've just got a fresh deck, but all the primary cards for the armies, the combat tactics on them they'll have a reusability. So if you happen to draw them and happen to play them for combat tactics, they'll shuffle back in so that you're guaranteed to get the card as a primary card eventually. Well, there is a chance, let's say if you get to the last few cards and draw it, then because that's what I thought had maybe happened. So you're always going to almost have a good 90% chance, I think, of activating the army with the primary card. But this was a card that we discarded from the setup, and this is what Martin was reminding me of, and I was like, I never thought about that. So the card was in the discard pile because it had been discarded through the setup. But I'm just looking at that. I mean, the setup, what happened was we placed the 40th Army Reserve Unit. What does it say? Yeah, because it says 40th Army attacks 0205 with Stavka's combat tactics. So if 40th Army had attacked, 40th Army would have been activated, and there should have been placed, its army objective marker should have been placed. That's not mentioned in the setup. And I think if I'd seen that, I might have clicked. I mean, it's not a big deal. Look, when we activated them, it goes there. It's not as if it would have went anywhere else, or it was dependent on anything. I mean, when we did get around to activating them, we placed it. But it was because that wasn't there even after turn 1. It didn't appear until turn 2. But I think that should probably be in the setup adjustments, because if the 40th Army Reserve Unit had been brought in, the 40th Army card would have to be played to activate the units, which then should have placed the marker. So, yeah, well, maybe that's opened up a little something, a wee bit errata thing, unless I'm missing something, of course, or unless they feel like it's not really that relevant. Nah, that doesn't sound right. I mean, it does place the Vornes front and the Southwest front objective markers, so why not that one? Maybe there's a reason. But anyway, thanks for that, Martin. That cleared up something, because I was scratching my head for quite a while with that one. So, yeah, good stuff. A couple of quick other things. Yeah, I got a comment back from John Brown saying that he did indeed miss that across the river. So even these guys that have the rules all sorted and can make these mistakes from time to time, so it makes that's what I'll reply back to him, saying it makes me feel a bit more comfortable that you guys can get it wrong at times, just miss little things. But also quite happy to know that it was him that was not getting it right, and I am, and not for a bravado kind of thing, just so that I'm playing the game right, you know. Okay, and finally, I've just noticed a mistake. Now, I've not watched through completely part 27. I'm almost through it. I think 20 minutes to go, and I was kind of lucky with this one, because I sometimes have it sort of run in the background. I have my headphones in, trying to listen in, and sometimes I'm doing other things because I don't want to spend all that time watching it back. And to be honest, I don't mind it. And like I say, when I go to bed at night, I put it on, and my eyes start getting heavy, so I'm like, right, okay, and then switch it off. But I had kind of been away from looking at it at the time, and it's when I came back and I thought, just something clicked. And it was the advance after combat of this unit, and he was in here, and we eliminated the unit in here. Remember, the attack was from these two units, and yeah, I mean, was that an auto advance? It was an auto advance, because he was coming across the river and closer to his objective. Was that an auto advance? I don't recall rolling a dice for it, so. Yeah, step 4, well, preference 4 is across river and closer to objective. So he did move 1 hex across there. However, that's crossing the Donets River, and it's an advance after combat crossing the Donets River. So there's a rule about that, and the rule is 2x advance. Does it have it in the player aid? Yeah, well, in the player aid it says, if unit didn't cross unbridged Donets or Dnieper River hex side to advance into first hex, it may advance to second hex. So it's basically saying there, if it's crossed an unbridged Donets or Dnieper River hex side, it cannot advance to second hex. And just to That was the rule book I read for it. So, yeah, it's 12.82 rule on page 48, advancing across Donets and Dnieper River. A unit may advance across an unbridged Donets or Dnieper hex side only if it attacked across that hex side or is following the path of retreat. Well, it did attack and there's no path of retreat, fun enough, but it did attack across that hex side, so that's legal. A unit advancing across an unbridged Donets or Dnieper hex side must stop in the hex across the river, even if the unit is mechanised and has advanced only one hex. So, and units may advance across bridged river hex sides without restriction. So, I'm going to leave that guy there. Yeah! Right, sorry, got called away there. I think I was done with that, didn't I? I've reset it. So I did have a note in the header once the video becomes available, which should be quite soon. Now, this unit actually made a check into the hex, didn't it? Now that would have been a check. Well, it would have been a lesser. It would have been a 1 to 3 die roll, I think, instead of maybe a 1 to 6 or something. I want to say. So he still wouldn't have advanced, would he? Yeah, the odds would have been worse for him to try and get in there. So yeah, so I think that's right. That's all I've noticed up to now. Okay, right, let's move on then. Bad things have started happening, haven't they? We've lost. Well, we lost this unit here. This unit survived but retreated. I mean, the good thing is he's not opened up this gap that we were kind of worried about. So there's still not immediate panic to likes of Belgorod or Kharkov. However, I say that with feeling a little anxious about it, really, and maybe, yeah, I should be doing something about it. And then, of course, in this area, there is now a gap through here. Although the fact this guy didn't advance on the other hex, so that's maybe not relevant, really, is it? However, there is a gap here. However, these units would have to come through this terrain. So, for instance, this guy here would have to cross into there. That'd be one move for him, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4. It'd be 6 movement into there. And even this guy would be 2. Well, actually, he would get across the river. Again, is there? Well, there could be. I think I would like to get one of these units in here. I think that would make sense to bring one of them back. And then, of course, we've also got the situation here where, although Kramatorsk isn't within proximity yet, it's pretty close to it. And if any of the units get moved into there, they've then got to worry about the urban infiltration. So there's a lot of things to consider. We did keep all our cards. There was a swaying towards should we play a combat tactic or not in the battle that we were allowed to play one, but we chose not to in the end. I'm just trying to wonder how that would have panned out. I think it would have ended better for us, wouldn't it? And there's my hand there. Yeah, I'm just glancing back at the results of this combat, and I think both combat tactic options I had, which were screen or Panzer Battalion. Panzer Battalion would reduce the odds to 2 to 1. There was a 3 to 1 shit that applied and a 4 to 1 shit that applied, which wouldn't have applied. So looking at that, we would have ended up with a hit on them, I think, and nothing else. And in actual fact, maybe the backside chits might have even hurt him a bit more as well, so that would have been a good play by the looks. Yeah, it's interesting to know what the chits in the back would have been. Give me a sec. Right, I don't know why I'm showing you this. I'm just curious myself, I suppose. I must have too much time on my hands. So they're the chits that got drawn for the combat in this guy. Hang on. Yeah, it's a bit breezy today. Things blowing about here, but it's still warm, so I want the window open. Yeah, these are. What was I saying? Yeah, these are the chits that were drawn in the attack. Now this guy was in. He was in there, wasn't he? Yeah, because they actually dispersed, didn't they? They didn't want to take the other hat, so I guess that result would have still been the same. They still would have dispersed no matter what. But as you can see, if I'd played screen, these are the chits drawn in order, and they all applied. Let's say there was none that didn't apply. So we would have only had the 3 chits, so these 2 wouldn't have applied. Paper's blown about everywhere. Right, okay. Slab Grant. So that the result there, well, yeah, the odds would have still been the same with this one. So you can see the results there would be no hits to me and 2 hits to him. So I would have been sitting sweet, still in the woods here with my IP. So that would have been good. And the other one, if I didn't play the screen and I played the Panzer Battalion, would have increased his strength by 1, and it would have dropped the odds to 2 to 1. So what is on the back of this one? Yeah, that would have went that way. And then back of this one would have been less than 2 to 1, so wouldn't have applied. So that's what the result would have been with the Panzer Battalion. Which would have been 1, 2, no hits to me again, and 2 hits to him. Well, there you go. Yeah, just by playing one of the combat tactics, would have stayed there, would have still had my IP, and these guys still would have been dispersed, I think. But that's one of the things you take the chance with. And obviously the downside to me having played one of the cards was they wouldn't be in my hand right now. So if it was the 3rd Corps card, I mean, okay, it's only a camp group, I'm not going to get a full activation, but it is possible I might want to activate one of these 2 guys. No, it would probably be this guy, to maybe move him down, and this infantry guy, and maybe move him into Kramatorsk. That's a possible activation for me right now, and obviously if I played it as a combat tactic, I wouldn't have had it. The other one which I talked about was playing this card. Okay, that one's... But it was kind of like I needed them both, because this one would put 2 units in the reserve units box from the eliminated units box, and then next again impulse that would deploy 2 of them. And I thought, as long as there's no more movement forward here, we might even be able to deploy them directly into Belgorod, protecting that. So, and then my other options of what I'm going to do is, obviously, it looks like, I know I was talking about repairing this guy with that card, but I think that's probably silly. I think... I don't know. I feel, well, we need to get something into Kharkov. I mean, it's okay, kind of got the cards in the way here, but as you can see, it's not far away. So we do need to move something in it sooner than later, I think. We certainly don't want to leave it too late. And I mean, you can keep an eye on these things to an extent, but if he draws 2 cards and gets 2 impulses, well, then you don't know. You know what I mean? It was nice to see these guys getting dispersed. However, I mean, 3rd tank, let's just say they activated twice. And Vornes front, that's where they want to go. And I know they're round that side a little bit, but who's to say now that there's a bit of a movement in here? I mean, there's a couple of 3rd tank units in there as well, that they couldn't maybe come down into this area here, have a go at this guy. And I mean, he's pretty vulnerable now. Well, he's more vulnerable than he was. He was in the woods with an IP before. And then possibly they get a 2nd activation, and then that's Kharkov fallen. So, and I said, well, if I did activate, I mean, I'd be abandoning that VP Chugiev coming back here. I mean, should I abandon this as well? Move him into Belgorod? I think it's probably quite close to that time. I mean, I don't really want to give up on that 48th Corps guy though. But I mean, any other reserves? Well, yeah, hang on though. We've not got a card for the 48, but then we need to get them back from the eliminated box first before we can then deploy them. So if that's going to happen, it's going to be nearer the end of the turn rather than the beginning or even the middle, really, unless I get really lucky, I suppose. I can't remember what big cards we got. Well, actually, the first Panzer Army card just got shuffled in, didn't it? But first Panzer Army is the 40 Corps guys, isn't it? Did we get the 4th Panzer Army card last turn? I don't know. And I'm assuming we don't get the big one yet, did we? Well, the big 2 Army Group Scythe and then one Manstein. So I can't recall if we got the 4th Panzer Army card or not last turn. Oh, I think we did. Because did we not activate 2nd SS twice? Or was that might have been that might have been just turn 1 that happened, actually. Nah, I can't remember. Okay, so what's the things to think about? And I don't know, one's right. Obviously. Yeah, I just realised that one of the issues with moving this guy into Kramatorsk was we had the option to retreat him into Kramatorsk, and we chose not to because it was opening a gap. So clearly if he does move into there, that gap is then going to be there, and then that gives them, well, the sort of road down to some big stuff. I mean, okay, it's not a big force, these first guards. And the Popov unit moved away, didn't he? However, I still don't want to do that if I can help it, I think. So the fact that's not a big force, maybe I shouldn't be quite so concerned. I do have the 40th Panzer Corps. That was the only card I probably didn't speak about, didn't I? I mean, they've got reserves, so I'd like to deploy them. However, yeah, I can't deploy them in Kramatorsk, can I? No. It's only 2 away from the enemy. Sorry. Just looking up there, thinking if I could have deployed them in there, that would have killed 2 birds with 1 stone, but because having the Panzer Corps as a Kampfgruppe card as well, there's only 1 stack of units, isn't there? I mean, I could activate them and drop them into Kramatorsk, and then that doesn't open gaps. But then, that also does not close this gap that 3rd Corps could do. So, yeah, I don't know. Maybe I want to wait with 3rd Corps, but then I don't. Well, I've already said it's going to be hard going for them to get through. Okay, this infantry unit could get into there, but then that is. He can't he? It's 1-2 into the woods, and then 1-2 across. And that's the hex I'd like to be to stop them. Because that protects them from coming from that hex, and that way or that way if I'm in there. Well, here's the thought. What if the infantry just moves in there? Yeah, I had to retreat on 2 hexes. Is that an option? If he sits in there, just in case. If I was to move him in there, does that protect Kramatorsk? It does, doesn't it? And keeps the gap closed. Because this guy cannot move from there to there, he cannot move from there to there, he cannot move from there to there, and this guy cannot move from there to there. And that's the worrying hexes are, if they get adjacent, then we know we've got to worry about the urban infiltration. So that's not bad, actually. That's getting me thinking. I think this is the move I want to make with these guys. I want to move that guy into there, because remember it's a Kampfgruppe activation. So move that guy into there, and then move this guy into here. and that shores things up. We get a stack of third corps units next turn as well, like, so. But this is a big turn. We've got to survive as best we can this turn. Yeah, I forgot to skip. I mean, I checked the defeat conditions, but I didn't look at the chance of the victory. I talked about it and I thought, well, I've never had that an early victory in a Mr. Butterfield game. Oops, I nudged things in. But I never mentioned the actual number. And if the Germans have less than 12 victory points, and again it's got that K, you know what? We should probably find. I mean, I can only guess it's like you own Kharkov. Let me have a look. Yeah, the K is just obviously to represent. That's the second bullet of victory conditions, 18.35 on page 47. If the number of, and this is when you're checking from turn 4 at the end of the turn, if the number of victory points is less than the value listed for a German victory, less than the value listed for a German victory, which would be less than 12, and Kharkov is German owned, the game ends in the German victory of the level listed. If the number of victory points equals or falls between the two values, or Kharkov is Soviet owned, the game continues. So you've got to own Kharkov as well. I don't need to have a unit in it, but as long as I have ownership of it. Okay. So, I feel like I'm in a position where I should be thinking. I don't normally sort of think that way, but well, there's no point moving into that turn. Okay, we've got to get through this turn first, Grant. So let's not get, and I'm already talking about abandoning victory point hexes, but well, I suppose if you go through counting, that number less than 12 is obviously that for a reason. It's going to be tough to hold. My guess is 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. That would be 8 though, wouldn't it? Could you? I think you're probably considering Belgorod with that as well, though, aren't you? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, if he took all them, he'd only be on 10, which is still less than 12. Yeah. I think I just need to keep playing on to how I would play the game rather than be thinking about that. Possibly as we're into turn 4, you can maybe put a bit more thought into that, but at the moment just try and shore things up and whatever. So why did I get moved on to that? Thinking, I guess it's just because I never considered it. Right, I still feel that that's a decent move for the third corps for a Kampfgruppe activation. But is it the one that you want to do just now? That's the thing. Are there more worrying things? Nothing sitting there saying, yeah, you've got to do this right now. That there are things saying, right, you need to do that pretty soon. But I don't think there's anything saying, I've got to do it right now. So could I hold off on the second SX activation and not concern myself with Kharkov? Yeah, I think so, because I feel like I could always run this guy back. This guy can probably not reach Kharkov. He can run back to Belgrade, but this is 1, 2, 3, 4, it's 5 movement, and just to get into there. This infantry as well, but it depends what does come through here, like I said. I feel like I can maybe hold off for that. I think it'd be nice to do the core rouse thing, but then that's 2 impulses. One to get the units, and then I could hold off on the 40. Oh well, if I move that third corps unit into where I'm talking to. The other thing is, he's not exactly. sitting pretty in there. You know, he's a 3 strength infantry unit, and I think this is 8. Yeah, it is. So I mean, 8. This guy could. Well, actually, if he's in there, I don't think he could join, could he? No, that's interesting. But 8 against 3, well, it's a 2-1, but they are just infantry, so there's a chance that might hold like that for a while and not come to anything, to be honest. And I think this is more. I think this is probably a bit more important, because if first guards activate, they're moving into there, and then I've got to move something into Kramatorsk. But then all I do with that, I suppose, is activate 40 core and move something into Kramatorsk, don't I? So, again, it's not urgent, it needs to happen now. But there's nothing, like I say, I don't think there's anything that needs to happen right now. However, if I do this now, I then won't need to worry about moving the 40 core units into there, and I can use the 40 core card to deploy the reserves. So maybe that's telling me that this should happen first. I mean, I know it doesn't look like the scariest sort of area up there though, does it? Hey, it looks more frightening down here, doesn't it? And what are the third tank going to do when they activate? Can they get units in here now? Terrain's a bit rough, but yeah, it's not going to be so easy for them to move into there unless, no, because 1, 2, 3, 4, even if that was mechanized, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah, I mean, yeah, it's not going to be, this isn't an available hex, I don't think, for any of them. I mean, even this guy, it's 1, 2, and then another 3 to get into the woods crossing the river. So I don't see them, and this hex is kind of handily full with dispersed units. That's quite a good result. Okay, there's this hex. So yeah, admittedly, these third tank units might move into that, but that's only bringing 8 or maybe, yeah, maybe a 5 and a 4, 9 strength against the 5 plus a 1, 6. So that's probably not going to cut it for them, and they're coming across the river. Yeah, seems fine there. I'd like to get the core Rouse units out, I think, and whether I would deploy them in Belgorod or not, possibly. I think it's worthwhile trying to hold Belgorod. I mean, some people probably think it's an area that should just be forgotten about come the time. Maybe not right away, because you've got a Gotnya down there and then another victory point, and there is a 2-point city right down the bottom. I can probably just show you it. Maybe not. Yeah, Sumy, is it? Down here. That's a good bit down. So there's not a lot of victory points to like be going for, and obviously, well, if they come in there, cut across to Kharkov. But I'd like to think I'm eventually going to put something in Kharkov. No, core Rouse units can't be deployed there, but yeah. So I feel like do the third core, then see what happens. Obviously, I'm going to see what the Soviets are going to do. I can't just sort of say, right, I'm going to do it in this order. I need to wait and see what they're going to do. But if they don't do anything too scary, then maybe then there's a chance to get a couple of the eliminated Rouse units back into the reserve pool, and then next again turn if nothing scary happens. But I get the feeling it might not be as simple as that. Okay, I think I'm going to take the chance for this one then. So we're going to play the third core Kampfgut card, activating. Oh, I forgot it wasn't quite the same. It's not a two units. That's better. That's better. Is it? Well, at least I'm still able to activate the 2 units I want to. I'm going to be able to activate this guy as well, haven't I? I forgot about that. Of course, I think it's the first time I've done it. That's mattered anyway. So, I would think I want to put the camp group there. Activate all 3rd Corps units within 2 hexes of a hex of your choice. So if I put it there, I get this guy, and this guy. So, I mean, I might not move that guy, but I'll allow him to build an IP. So if I do that, right, well, sure you can just move this on, Grant. You've talked about it. Right, well, hang on. Let's activate our guys. So all these guys are activated. Well, could I not just... Oh no, I think I want that guy left where he is, I don't know. Well, I'm not sure. I didn't think I was getting to activate him, so I suppose I'm... Right, well, there's no messing about here. This guy's going to go just straight into there. And okay, he is up against... What is it? 8 against 3. Yeah, he's not got a buddy adjacent. I wonder... Can we move? Of course, we're moving that down though, aren't we? Well, that needs to go there, and this guy, well, like I've just said, I could move this guy to do it, but then, no, that's creating a gap. So, no. So I'm going to use this guy, so he's going to lose his IP, and he's going to go 1, 2 into there, I think. Yeah. Well, maybe I'll leave that there. If I might be just building an IP again with this other guy. Could he? I don't think so, but I mean, could he go here? No, it's just open. It's opening the gap there, Grant. So if you're trying to keep, could he have went right around there? 1, 2. He could. Okay, let's just rethink that. Again, it's probably because I didn't know I was getting the activation of him. If they were to sort of switch places, but then is there any relevance to that? Well, it's moving a 4 strength unit, armoured unit adjacent to this 8. And the infantry could go on to just replace where he's come from. We wouldn't allow the build of an IP though, but I don't know, does that not then leave, to be honest, leave this infantry, well they wouldn't be able to move down from there to there though, but they would be able to move back and around the infantry if it was here, wouldn't they? And they might well do that. Yeah, I'm maybe better just sticking with my plan of that. And hopefully that guy can... And of course the other thing, they won't get a 2 hex advance because they're only infantry. Which is kind of important. I do still need to keep my eye on that though, don't I? Because if well, no, that's, well, yeah, they don't get any mechanised units, I don't think, the first guards, or if they do, it's late on. Yeah, it's late on, they do get some, but because remember, anything that reinforces the battle can't advance after combat, so okay, I think I will go with that, and I think I'll just leave that guy there then, I suppose. Because even if I move them into there, that is kind of creating a gap as well. So if I want to stick to the no gaps, but and just protect and just standing back and try to hold. We do still have the 3rd Corps primary card to come, so we will get to activate them again if we want to. Yeah, okay. I think I will do that. And sorry, he was active as well. And I'm just gonna build an IP with that guy. And to be honest, I don't need to do that. So yeah, I'm gonna build an IP on that guy, just leave him where he is, I think. Is that right, Grant? Do you think? Yeah. I still feel that. I mean, the other good thing, the 40 core card that I've got in my hands, a Camp Group one as well. So yeah, ideally I want to deploy reserves with that, but we've still got the primary card of the aim to come as well. So if I get the reserves deployed, and well, depends when I draw the other card though as well, then I should be able to support this. Maybe get a unit into this hex as well, and then yeah, I mean, and then the other thing is a pushback. There's a pushback on Sylvansk as well. I mean, it's not out of the question. I don't think there's not a strong force up there, and obviously that pop-off unit's moved away now. I mean, yeah, he's going to do other nasty things down further towards Kharkov and the likes, but alright, let's go with that. I think some of these things are you've just got to take a chance with things. I'm sure you would all do it slightly different. Maybe some of you would agree with that. But yeah, again, this playthrough is not to give you all the best strategic moves and avoid, stupid things to do. I'm sure I will do some stupid things. Yeah, I look back at some of them and I think there was one recently, and I can't remember what it was now. I was going to bring it up as well, and I looked and I thought, oh, but that could happen, Grant. And can't remember. Maybe it wasn't that important because I can't remember it, or we'll find out soon when a unit goes, right, this is going to do that, and you're like, ooh, yuck. Right, well, as soon as you draw your card, Grant, that's you can't go back. So are you happy? Not ecstatic, but going to go with it. Right, let's draw my card, my hand size up to 5 again. Let's hope it's something good. Oh, right, okay. Well, yeah, that's only one. I can only bring one back from the dead, can't I? Yeah, well, I need to have the supplemental card, but I don't know if I'm getting that or not, do I? And like I say, that's only moving one unit from the eliminated units box to the reserve units box. So I've still got to find a card to deploy it as well, and it's just a slow process, isn't it? Yeah, well, we'll wait and see. I think it's probably better holding on to that card and seeing if we might actually draw the supplemental card for the 48th, and then be able to make the most of putting bringing the 2 units back from the eliminated units box, and then in future deploying them with us. So something like that, maybe. It's got air power and it's combat tactic. It's not got an event, so right. Okay, well, yeah. Sorry, that was a bit of. I think it's just that there's a lot of thinking into what the best moves were there, and I'm sure I didn't find the best one, but you can see there's a lot of things to think about, isn't there? Yeah, like I say, I think every one of us would probably have done it slightly different. Maybe some of you would have agreed with that one, like I say. Right, okay, well, I'll just cut this. It's 44 minutes now, so I might as well do that. And then, I'm not sure, I should probably take a break and do some other real life things, or I'll get myself into trouble, I think. Okay, I'll be back with, what is this? This is 28, I think, so I'll be back with part 29 shortly, guys. Cheers.